Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister promises her unwavering support for press freedom in Trinidad and Tobago. A policy document developed by the Ministry of Health to tackle the issues plaguing breastfeeding rates in the country. And Christmas is launched in San Fernando. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamla Bissessar, hosted the media at the Diplomatic Center at her annual Christmas media luncheon. Addressing members of the media gathered, the Prime Minister promises her unwavering support for press freedom in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mrs. Persad Bissessar is praising journalists in this country for the good work they have been doing. She says no matter what they report, the job they do is necessary in a democracy.
I take this opportunity to commend you on the good work which many of you do with regard to giving a voice and to sharing important information with our citizens on matters of national and international importance. Whether the views or comments of the press or the public are in unison with or diverge from that of government, upholding press freedom remains a right enshrined in our country's constitution, and it is indeed a necessary component of a very strong and effective democracy.
The Prime Minister pledges her government support for the rights of the press. She, however, reminds journalists of their responsibility to their craft and the public.
My administration will continue to support press freedom and the rights of you, our journalists, to tell the story. Of course, as professionals, I know you will undoubtedly honor your craft by adhering to the principle of truth, the principle of fairness, the principle of justice, as you fulfill your mandate of safeguarding the public interest.
Mrs. Persad Bissessar also reveals that changes in laws which affect journalism are being reviewed. These changes, she says, are meant to protect the freedoms of all citizens, journalists included.
My government will not abdicate our responsibility to protect the freedom of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, including you, our journalists. Our country's now archaic defamation laws are currently under review with the intention to bring them more in line with international best practice. You will certainly be kept informed on the progress of the review, which is in the very capable hands of our Attorney General, Senator Annan Ramlogan.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Surajratan Rambajan, embarked on a tour through San Fernando with the mayor. The minister pledges to work closely with the city corporation and says his visit to the city marks the launch of road paving initiatives for 2012-2013 in and around the San Fernando.
Dr. Rambajan officially opened a short street that connects High Street in San Fernando to Point of Bear Road. The street was closed for 40 years and has been used by street vendors. Added to that, he says, 15 roads in San Fernando will be paved.
So you're going to see an explosion of works taking place. As I promised, there are already about 600 projects that are approved and ready to go under local government. It's the first time in the history of local government that work is commencing in a fiscal year 1 month after the budget has been passed. Yes. And already we have drawn down 24.7% of our PSIP for regional corporations, which amounts to $228 million.
He says his ministry is well on its way to completing all projects by February next year under the regional corporations.
This has little to do with local elections. We are going to win the local elections whether we do this or not, because the people are very satisfied with the manner in which the People's Partnership has been operating. It's the first time that people are getting the speed of delivery and the responsiveness of the government. This is something that has not happened for a very long time. When we came into office, our mantra was serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. And unfortunately, the number of projects that we have done have not caught the attention of the media in the way that they should catch your attention. So I thank the media for being here.
The minister says the street serves as a very important purpose, especially for Christmas. He calls it the bargain street in San Fernando.
So if we have to, encourage people and a sense of domestic tourism and domestic shopping, then we have to provide, adequate facilities for them. Okay. And I think that this is a really great gesture. It's the first street to be paved in this whole program that is taking place.
Touching on the subject, San Fernando Mayor Dr. Navi Murdali says he will have a consultation with the vendors to discuss whether the street will be used for vending during the Christmas season or not.
Short Street has been closed to vehicular traffic for 40 years, and today is really a historic moment that we are opening it back for vehicles to use the road, connecting High Street and Pointe-a-Pierre Road, which takes you into Vista Bella. So I think it's really a historic moment. The issue of vending, tomorrow we are meeting with the TTPS, we have met with the Vendors Association, we have met with the Business Association, and we're going to have a comprehensive plan of vending for the Christmas season into Carnival.
The minister and mayor also visited a walkover bridge made out of recycled plastic bottles and materials in Vista Bella. They ended their tour with a visit to the temporary Marabella Market. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
When we come back, tackling the issues plaguing breastfeeding rates in the country. Stay with us. Welcome back. Consultations for stakeholders was held by the Ministry of Health on national infant and young child nutrition and policy action for Trinidad and Tobago. A policy document has been developed by the ministry in collaboration with the Caribbean and Food Nutrition to tackle the issues plaguing breastfeeding rates in the country.
Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Fuad Khan, says this policy represents a step towards improving the nutritional status and health of infants and young children by protecting and promoting safe infant feeding practices.
The increase in the weight of children, young adults, and adults that has been progressively going up in the last decade or so. I think if my memory serves me correctly, we do have approximately a 55% increase in weight of the general population, dependent on an average, over the past 10 to 15 years. We are witnessing, ladies and gentlemen, an alarming increase in obesity, low birth weight, anemia, low breastfeeding rates, and inadequate complementary feeding.
The minister says in Trinidad and Tobago, the health system have been plagued with low breastfeeding rates and inadequate complementary breastfeeding, low birth rate babies, and obesity of children.
Childhood obesity remains a major concern for the Ministry of Health, as this leads to the development of risk factors, as I said before, for the CNCDs. We have been noticing more and more children with high BMIs, obesity, high cholesterol levels, type 2 diabetes. This is possibly due to the overload of the hormones or the insulin resistance as a result of overweight.
He points out that sedentary lifestyles continue to replace physical activities, saying, "Gone are the days when children would be outside playing every evening and weekend." But he hopes to change this by adding that plans to introduce a day of play will commence to fast forward the activity of increasing physical activity in children.
We see more and more children glued to the Xbox or the PlayStation. This modernization is leading us to the brink of a health disaster, which we could easily avert once we choose to adopt a healthy lifestyle, healthy nutrition, increase physical activity, etc. It is possible and time to encourage and dictate activity, as I said. Parents must be the ones to move that process forward. We have to inculcate a culture of activity, exercise, and diet.
The objective of the policy, he says, also aligns with the objectives of the United National Millennium Development, which is aimed at reducing child mortality. He adds breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure child health and survival.
Breast milk is the healthiest and best form of nutrition for babies. The substantial benefits are numerous and have been long recognized and proven. It has often been said breastfed babies are healthy babies. Breast milk has the proper concentration of nutrients. It allows suckling, and research has shown that breastfed children have lower levels of obesity.
According to UNICEF Global Strategy for Infant and Young Child Feeding, infants should be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of their life to achieve optimal growth. The policy is intended to identify actions that should be taken to strengthen the capacity of health services and communities to ensure that nutritional needs of infants and young children are met. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
It was a very auspicious occasion for the hundreds of parents and students who attended the 2012 Secondary Entrance Assessment Award Ceremony at the Center of Excellence, Mokoya. Speaking at the event, Dr. the Honorable Tim Gopi Singh, Minister of Education, hailed it as very symbolic and a very significant day.
That today's ceremony in honor of our young achievers, you, our distinguished achievers, falls on the United Nations Universal Children's Day, a day set aside by the global community to celebrate childhood, where the theme this year is Treasure Our Children.
Dr. Gopi Singh sought to remind the students of how special they are and that they are indeed the nation's treasure. He adds that as minister, he holds the highest respect for all students of Trinidad and Tobago.
And with whatever situation you are in, I pledge my love and support to each and every one of you. This ceremony, with a long, proud history, which began in 1996 under the administration of Mr. Pandey, and then taken up by our present Prime Minister when Mrs. Kamla Bissessar was Minister of Education. This continued until 2008. At that time, the Ministry of Education partnered with BPTT.
The minister says once more they have partnered with BPTT to recognize the performance of achieving students who received unit trust shares, plaques and certificates, of recognition to the principal and teachers of the primary schools of achievers.
And your People's Partnership Government agreed to increase the value of the funds which were being received by the first 100 or 150 students previously up to 2008, be increased to $1,000.
Dr. Gopi Singh says the Prime Minister has decided that the number of awardees be increased. He tells pupils and parents that he got the approval for the increase from $500 to $1,000 through a cabinet note, and the payment was being made retroactively to the pupils.
Which I think at one time was 100 to 200. So you represent the first 200 places in the SCA examinations in 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012.
At the SCA Awards ceremony, approximately 800 pupils who topped the SCA from 2009 to 2012 received bonds worth $1,000. In other developments, the Director of the Public Administration will decide what action will be taken against top Ministry of Education officials responsible for the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC mix-up in the naming of the President's Medal winner, Minister of Education says. He told reporters the ministry last week completed an investigation into how a pupil from Naprima High School was told she had scored the highest in the CSEC examinations and was recipient of the President's Medal when in fact she had placed third. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. Anthony's College of West Mooring successfully defended their Intercol North Zone title when they met surprise finalist Diego Martin North Secondary at the Hazley Crawford Stadium on Thursday. But as you will see in this Wayne Cunningham report, it was not as easy as some would have thought.
Defending champions St. Anthony's College were the clear favourites going into the North Zone Intercol final versus Diego Martin North Secondary at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain. It would be the underdogs with the first real chance of the game. Referee Joel Davidson immediately pointing to the penalty mark after the handled ball in the area. Christian Vincent stepped up, but his spot kick went wide, much to the relief of the St. Anthony's crew. To their credit, Diego Martin quickly got back to business. Christopher Biggett's shot rebounding and finally reaching Aaron Joseph, who shoots wide. The goal would eventually come in the 33rd minute for the Diego Martin Dragons. The effort from Josh Toussaint is saved by Javon Sample, but Joseph is there to tap home the loose ball to make it 1-0 and send the fans into a frenzy. That woke up the West Moorings Tigers, and they created a number of opportunities before the halftime whistle, but none would hit the back of the net before the break. In the first minute back on the pitch, St. Anthony's would be awarded a penalty. Tigers captain Jamali Garcia took the kick, which was well saved by Diego Martin keeper Perry Lee O'Connor. The equalizer would come though, Adrian Millet getting his head to the corner kick first to beat O'Connor 1-1. The Tigers were in a rampant mood and always looked like scoring again. And they did, to send their fans wild. Now it was Diego's turn to attack, and their efforts paid off late in the game when they were awarded a penalty for this incident in the area. Josh Toussaint made no mistake and sent the game into a shootout from the penalty mark. Garcia scored the first kick for St. Anthony's with ease, but Toussaint sailed his over the crossbar for Diego. From there on, it was all Tigers, as they never trailed in the tense battle from the penalty mark to once again be crowned North Zone Intercol champs. St. Anthony's will now meet the South champions, which will be decided on Monday when Presentation College of San Fernando face Shiva Boys Hindu College at the Manny Ramjon Stadium in Marabella. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Switching to cricket, the Honourable Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, extends congratulations to young Darren Bravo on his 4th Test century made during the 2nd Test between the West Indies and Bangladesh. Bravo's 127 alongside Marlon Samuels helped solidify the West Indies' position in the match and signalled a run feast in the Bangladesh city of Khulna. The partnership of 326 with Samuels for the 3rd wicket is the 6th highest ever for the West Indies. About the attractive left-handed ton, Minister Roberts remarked, quote, "The innings was a patient one and I commend Bravo on his focus and concentration. You could see that he wanted to put his head down and bat. That's exactly what he did. The flourishes and brilliant stroke play always elicit memories of Brian Lara as comparisons to the West Indies legend are continually made, and not without good cause. We wish Bravo the best as the West Indies seek to wrap up the Test series and move on to the ODIs. We look forward to more outstanding innings from this champion cricketer and son of the soil," end quote. The 23-year-old Darren Bravo, who won the Male Athlete of the Year at the 2011 Spirit of Sport Awards, SOSAs, has a healthy Test average in the mid-40s and has fared well on the subcontinent, where he has recorded all 4 of his Test centuries. News 4 continues after this. Southerners are expected to be treated to an elaborate Christmas fair on the San Fernando Hill beginning Wednesday, December 19th to Monday, December 24th. The Christmas fair comes under the theme, A Christmas Gift of Enchantment. This was revealed at the launch, which took place at the San Fernando Hill.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. The babe, wrapped in swaddling cloth and lying in a manger. It's perhaps one of the most beautiful Christmas traditions, setting up a creche. Nestled on the San Fernando Hills, this creche models the scene at the manger on the first Christmas in the stable at Bethlehem. Also, a wide assortment of lights to brighten the hill. All this marks the launch of the 2012 Christmas Fair San Fernando.
Today is the launch of a milestone event in the history of the San Fernando Hill. We urge you to attend the village fair and make the event a resounding success.
Public Relations Officer for the committee, Zahid Mohammed, says the fair is a merger of the spiritual, social, and commercial to reach out and bring the community back together and give them something to smile about and enjoy.
From Wednesday 19th of December 2012 till Monday 24th December 2012. There is no place in Trinidad and in extension the Caribbean that is unique and enchanting as the San Fernando Hill. Located plump in the middle of the city with its picturesque view no matter which point you stand, and cool breeze that takes your mind for a ride.
For the first time, he says, the people of Trinidad and Tobago will get the opportunity to experience the true beauty of San Fernando Hills at night.
In trying to create a perfect illusion of Christmas on the hill using lighting, fabric, sound figurines, that is nativity sets, crest, Santa Claus, elves, reindeers, candy canes, cottages, etc. that would encompass the hill main area, turning it into a grand Christmas country.
The event would coincide with an exposition, where there would be live entertainment each night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on a large erected stage, which will include parang, Christmas carol, skits, local artists, and pan. A food court would also be provided with mouth-watering dishes and Christmas cuisine. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.